Ravens training camp already ramping up and getting physical today. Yes, that and much more on this episode of the Purple Rain Podcast. Yes, thank you for coming through on this beautiful Friday Eve edition of the Purple Rain Podcast, episode 253. So why not talk about it? The Delshon Phillips episode of the Purple Rain Podcast, the Jeremy Zuda, Jihad Ward, Jameel McLean, Dan Cody, Bam Bradley, Dexter Daniels, TJ Slaughter, Tyrell Peters, every single Raven to wear number 53 in franchise history. But thank you all for coming through this episode. You can follow us on Instagram at the Purple Rain Podcast. So let's go over here on Instagram, on X at Sutton Def. Overlooked, underrated, don't forget it. You can follow me on Instagram at simplyas10.prod and on X at simplyas10. And most importantly, our sponsor, Manscaped. If my memory serves me correct, I believe it's like 100 degrees today with heat index. You're most likely sweating. So, in order to prevent any odor, itching, Manscaped. They got the ball deodorant. Keep it nice and clean down there. 20% off your whole order, free shipping. Code PRP, Manscaped. But as always, Sutton, how is your week going?
My week is actually going fantastic, to be honest with you.
Okay.
Couldn't be any better, and I'm smiling ear to ear right now for a multitude of reasons. One of those reasons being that training camp is heating up, and not even just the sense of the temperature, but like we're getting to that part of training camp, and I talked about this on a couple weeks prior episode, where the offense is starting to fire back, and we saw that in day 9. And maybe a little bit less in day 10, which was today. And that's all we're going to get into. But before we do, I want to see who's here in the live chat here. We got, let's see, Mod K-Dog, of course, is in the building. First and foremost, always here, always showing love. We appreciate you, man. He's also giving a shout out to Lisa Ann, a true Purple Rain pioneer, always coming through, always showing love to the channel. Says has been praying for her. We are definitely sending, all our thoughts and prayers, our love to Lisa, and wishing her the best throughout her process and everything that she's dealing with right now. Just we couldn't appreciate her more because she's always in every episode. She never misses a stream, and that dedication really does speak to her character. So,
bringing the positivity when
the
needed.
Positivity, right? Exactly. So, shout out to Lisa, and can't wait to have her back in the streams, and our thoughts and prayers are definitely with her. So this one goes out to Lisa for sure.
Could have said it better. Beautiful words.
K-Dog also says, please smash that damn like button. It is free, but it helps these gentlemen a ton. Yes, it does. Yes, it does, K-Dog. We appreciate that. Also, giving a big shout out to the hashtag replay gang. So if you are watching this and you're not watching it live, but you're part of the hashtag replay gang, all good. We love you just as much, but maybe catch a live show sometime. Look, the season's right around the corner. The live shows are about to start heating up. I'm telling you right now, when we do our predictions, right? Our picks.
1 week from today, we have a preview episode.
Yeah.
1 week from today.
Wow.
We play 1 week from tomorrow against the Eagles preseason. Yeah. So your Jalen Armour Davises, all right. Your Tavius Robinsons, your Devontae Walkers, your Dayton Wades, all right. Devin Leary.
Ooh.
Hey, your Charlie Kolar.
Yeah, for sure.
We'll be talking about all those guys. Looking forward to seeing them next week, a week from today, the first preview episode of the 2024 season. Soak it in.
Yeah, hell, now that you mentioned that, we got a football game tonight. I know it's not it's not high caliber football, but it's football. I mean, honestly, you're there tonight for the presentation of it all, for just to get back in the mood and just the feel of football. You're not there to see highly touted draft picks or anything like that, or any sort of starters or anything like that, but it's just going to feel good to hear commentators commentating over the game, watching that big field. And it's going to be awesome. It's going to be awesome. So I can't wait to watch the Hall of Fame game tonight. It is the Houston Texans and the Chicago Bears. So that should be a fun one.
Yeah, I'm actually looking forward to seeing Tyson Bagent, one of my favorite players in the league. I love the story out of a D3 school. And I'd be lying if I said I didn't take a gander at some of the props for the game tonight. Just a gander, all right.
Oh, I thought
Um,
about that earlier. I was like, there's no way I touched that though.
I
That's
mean, minus
gross.
115 over 176 passing yards for either team. I mean, I like that personally. That the whole game throwing over 177 yards, two
Yeah,
three quarterbacks combined. Surely didn't touch it, but I just took a look at it. I checked it out. I checked
yeah,
it out. Not
yeah,
saying I'm gonna throw anything on it, but I just wanted to just look. It's you'll be at a store. You'll pick it up off the rack. You'll look at it. You put it on you. That's what I did.
yeah. Just a little window shopping. That's all.
You went exactly. Now
Yeah,
that could change depending, if somebody wants to come in the chat and see what they like and we talk about it. But yeah, just take a look. But yeah, I'm looking forward to football being back tonight.
yeah.
I'm hoping a couple of the draft picks play like second and third rounders, but either way, football's back.
Yeah, I know Caleb Williams had came out and said he wanted to play in the Hall of Fame game. I think I saw
Yeah.
that somewhere at least. Um, that would have been fun, at least for like a possession or something like that. But in the Hall of Fame game, it's just like absolutely not. It's just more like again, it's more for the presentation that
Yeah.
game is. It's like just for the Hall of Fame. That's what it's really about. Like this whole, the week and everything like that. So I think that again, I'll probably tune into like maybe like the first half or something like that, and
Yeah.
then maybe tune away from it. But it'll be fun regardless.
Well, I
Oh
remember
yeah.
that's where Lamar Jackson made his debut against the Bears in 2018, the Hall of Fame game.
Yeah,
So, I mean, now look at him, league MVP. But
I
yeah,
remember that. Dang.
it was he was throwing like Jaleel Scott and Jordan Lasley, but it was our first time seeing him. I think he
Yeah,
threw a pick in the game too, but he's come a long way since that Hall of Fame night.
absolutely. All right, so let's go ahead and get into some ball talk, some
Yeah.
Ravens ball talk here. Sponsored by Manscaped. Remember, you can go ahead and use our code right there on the bottom, PRP, save yourself 20% off, plus free international shipping. Okay, days 9 and 10 of training camp. There were some ups, there were some downs, some highs, some lows, some good, some bad. Uh, and I think that what I make of all of this, because in day 9, the offense was cooking. In day 10, which is today, the defense was cooking. And what I take from that is that it's just simply iron sharpening iron. You don't want it to be too lopsided in training camp. Like the offense is just dominating the defense. There's nothing the defense can do. Or the defense is just completely stifling the offense and the offense is just anemic. Like you don't want either of those things. So I think that the back and forth is healthy. In terms of, I guess we can get into what we saw from day 9 and day 10. But what do you take from all of this in general right now,
I'm
Alex?
I'm right there with you. It's the iron sharpening iron. I know the defense was only dominating when Lamar wasn't there. Since Lamar came back, our starting quarterback, it's been a good mixture of both, and I think that's what I'm looking forward to. Uh, I think yesterday he didn't throw one interception. I think he only had one incomplete pass the whole practice. I think he was the one incompletion was like in 7-on-7s, but he was looking poised, looking real good, and that's what I like to hear. And then today, I mean, we'll get to day 9 first, but and then today, I mean, defense took over. Now it was really hot out, heat exhaustion. They were talking about. I think Ben Cleveland, you told me, got a little bit of a head bump, and then I saw Falele was just like absolutely exhausted, and Harbaugh cut practice short, which smart thing to do, especially guys of that size in this weather at high intensity. It's crazy, but I love it. I don't want to see the Lamar is just dotting up the defense nonstop, and the defense is just cooking the offense. Like it's healthy dose of both.
Yeah, yeah. Again, love to see that. Let's go ahead and get into a couple of specifics that happened, in day 9 and 10. A couple of key things to point out from day 9, the 11-on-11 drills and the 7-on-7 drills. Lamar Jackson was absolutely dialed in, and there are a couple of things that I picked up on. Right, so let me just kind of go through the sequence that's laid out here by Kyle Barber, who put on the Baltimore banner. Shout out to him. And 11-on-11s. Lamar Jackson. Number 1, no one covered tight end Isaiah Likely as he went to the corner of the end zone. Jackson found him for an easy score. That was play number 1. Play number 2, Lamar hits Tylan Wallace on a comeback route in the end zone, beating physical coverage from cornerback Brandon Stevens. Now, listen, I'm going to stop right there. Brandon Stevens is going to be a key name that I mentioned multiple times throughout this. And you let me know whether or not you think that there's like some sort of common theme here. So, play number 3, this is in 7-on-7s, right? Jackson went for a wide receiver, Zay Flowers, to cross from. He waited for Zay Flowers to go cross from right to left before feeding him with a short pass, plenty of space downfield. Okay, cool. Next play, tight end Scotty Washington got a bit of separation on a comeback route against Brandon Stevens, then had to dive to bring in Lamar's pass along the left sideline. And then the next play, Lamar went after Brandon Stevens again, connecting with Zay Flowers on a deep out along the left sideline again. Jackson celebrated by flexing his upper body and skipping merrily. So just in those alone, and there's more examples to show for it. Lamar, it seems like he was attacking Brandon Stevens just a little bit to me.
Yep.
And I don't know what that's necessarily about. Again, it's iron sharpening iron, of course. But I don't know. Does that concern you at all? Because Brandon Stevens is supposed to be cornerback two at the very least. You know what I mean? On
Yes.
this team, like he's one of the guys, one of the only guys who we're not paying big money at. To play in that DB spot. So, well, what do you take from all that?
I'm not. I'm not worried at all. I saw him lock up some of the NFL's best to offer last year. Maybe they saw a slight in his game where if he had a certain tendency,
Yeah.
they knew how to beat him. And I feel like that maybe could have been the case. Maybe he was running a certain way, his hips were a certain way, and Lamar saw that, and he told his guys like, "Hey, if he's bending this way, hit this move, and you'll be open." Maybe that's what it was. But I think Lamar, he's done picking on Marlon Humphrey after what 4 or 5 interceptions. So
Oh
that's good
yeah.
news to
Yeah.
me. If
Yeah.
guys are going to try to target Brandon Stevens, who I thought was a snub Pro Bowler last year, that's fine. He'll make it up, and when it gets a little bit more physical like it was today,
Yeah.
I think we'll see him make his plays. But that was just the offense taking what they're giving you.
Ooh, I love what you just said right there. Because like it makes me think, what if Lamar Jackson, what if like this is his low key leadership quality here? Like, you know what? In training camp, I'm gonna go after my top cornerbacks one by one and see which ones can get my respect, in training camp right up front. Goes for Marlon Humphrey. Humphrey picks him off 4 or 5 times, like, okay, you got my respect. Let's go to cornerback number two, Brandon
Yeah,
Stevens. Can you gain my respect? And you saw he's going after him play after play after play to see if he can. So we'll see how Brandon Stevens responds to that. I mean, again, this is all training camp, so we're really speculating what these players are thinking and whatnot. It's just we pay such close attention to this team, and we kind of know these players to a degree because we've been following them for so long. So that's why we're able to kind of like draw these sort of conclusions. But again, it's all speculation. It's just for
yeah.
fun. But yeah, man, that's interesting. That's very, very interesting. So just moving along here. So another play, Lamar hit Zay Flowers on a post route for his biggest gain of the day, about 30 yards. Zay high pointed the ball and held on to it despite Kyle Hamilton's best efforts to break up the pass and then rip it out of his grasp. That was also promising as well. I mean, Zay Flowers holding on to the football. That's good news. That's good news. And Alex, let me just go off track just a little bit right here. I was thinking earlier today. I was driving and I was thinking about the AFC Championship game,
Oh
and
no.
yeah, I was, and the Zay fumble specifically, and just knowing that like if Zay scores that touchdown or if he just holds on to the football, right, and we score, it's 14-17 with an entire quarter left and all the momentum on the Ravens side at home. Defense was pitching the shutout. If we just simply finish that fourth quarter, grind on them with the running game, get that going with the crowd going and everything like that. We already know they had a weak run defense. If we break them down, get the momentum, start running on them, and we win that fourth quarter, essentially we win that game and we're in the Super Bowl. We don't know. Again, this is all, hindsight is 2020. This is all hypotheticals, right? But it made me think about that. Fast forwarding to today, when he held on to that ball, and this was actually in day 9, so this was yesterday. But it just made me think about like the maturity of Zay Flowers. You know, you remember the common theme throughout the late last season because the Ravens started to build what the kids like to call aura. Kind of like midway through the season, and you can kind of tell like okay, this season is special after certain
Yeah.
games, like after the Christmas game, after the Miami game, after some of those other after the
Rams.
Detroit game, Rams.
I'll go Rams.
Yeah, exactly. You started to feel it like, okay, this is a special year. And everybody's kind of theme, including Lamar Jackson, he was kind of like the ringleader of this, was stay locked in. The mantra was stay locked in, stay
Yeah.
locked in. And Zay Flowers, he had a moment where he was not locked in. He had a couple moments where he was not locked in that AFC Championship game. So seeing his maturity going from rookie year to a second year is going to be very interesting to me. But I think, me personally, I think that he learned from that, and I think he needed that to kind of grow into, the receiver he's going to be in the future.
To make one final point about that game last January, um, he scores that touchdown. That was in the third quarter. We brought out Terrell Suggs to start of the fourth quarter. Now imagine that. 17-14, you just scored after a big play from Zay and then a touchdown from Zay. You're down by 3 points. Defense hadn't allowed a point that whole second half. You bring out one of the biggest legends in franchise history who played for the Chiefs as well. Oh my gosh. 100% we have all the momentum on our side. And I hate thinking about that. And we held them to 0 points in the second half. Mike McDonald, you are a mastermind, an absolute mastermind, and fan for life between us two. Not when you play for us. But going back to that day 9, I'm right there with you. And the one thing I do want to talk about offensively is Derrick Henry, because between a lot of the videos I've seen and from BaltimoreRavens.com, this is a quote from them. Derrick Henry made a tough catch in the front corner of the end zone on a fadeaway pass from Jackson that was closely defended. It was a top-notch throw and catch by the big man who isn't known for his receiving prowess. I'm going to go on a limb here and say I feel like he could have a career year receiving. He's been getting a lot of work catching balls out the backfield. I don't know if Todd Monken likes what he sees, if there's going to be a lot of just kind of decoys, and then there's Derrick Henry left in the flat and nobody's going to cover him. But I wouldn't be surprised. I think his lead in receptions for a year was 33 in 2022. I could see him getting around to that number again if we're going to feed him out the backfield. Now that's contingent upon Justice Hill as well. But if they're feeding him out the backfield in training camp, they're practicing him a lot. I see the videos. That's another, thing you got to worry about with this offense going into the year.
Yeah, Derrick Henry, he's going to be. It's going to be very, very interesting to see how Todd Monken works him into this offense, because you think of Derrick Henry as kind of like just the brute force running back, not necessarily even like a 3-down back, but just like the brute force. You need a yard, you need 3 yards. You're going to give it to him, and he can also break off a big one too, because we know he has explosive speed. But the thing I think about the most when I think about how we're going to get Derrick Henry really rolling in this offense is how we're going to stretch the field, how we're going to stretch the defense, how we're going to force them to not be able to stack a box and basically just sell out on a Derrick Henry run. And what that requires is sufficient receivers on the outside that don't allow the DBs to kind of cheat towards the line of scrimmage. Don't allow them to even think about even trying to get in on tackling a running back, because, you have a dangerous guy who can just break you off at any moment, and it may be 6, so that's why I really, again, the Rashad Bateman agenda, and I'm still pulling for him, because this is a guy who's going to have to get it going in order for this run game to get going. Like the run game is going to work off the pass, but the pass is also going to work off the run this year. I mean, we have the weapons to make it work that way. Todd Monken, I know he can balance it out. We saw it a little bit last year. He's got, he's going into his sophomore season in this offense, right? Todd Monken is, and he's got a new weapon in Derrick Henry, and I think Derrick Henry is a very, I'm not gonna say it's an easy weapon to install in this kind of like game plan that we have going on here under Todd Monken, but there's a lot of different possibilities, and I think that the best possibilities are going to kind of lie in our receivers stepping up and allowing for Derrick Henry to have more open running lanes.
And you bring up Todd Monken. I'm going to go back to his press conference when he said he wants defenses to cover every inch of the field.
Mm-hmm.
Stretching it. If you have to worry about the brute force running back out the backfield because he's, burnt you once or twice during the game, that's leaving your guy likely open, or Bateman. Like, that means you have to put a man on Henry or pay that much close attention to him. Now imagine that. Like, you have Derrick Henry wide open in the flat. Now he's running at full speed. Now you have to make a business decision. Are you going to try to hip drop tackle him? Are you going to try to take him like straight man up? Are you going to go for the legs? Like, he can dodge you anyway. So if they're gonna just add that part to his game, it makes so much sense. Like why we got him for that too. Like if we want to install a whole new aspect to this offense, which is passing out the backfield to receivers not named Keaton Mitchell or Justice Hill or running backs, just bring it to me. Like bring it
Yeah.
all to me.
Yeah. I do think that Justice Hill will get a lot of those throws to the flat and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And also be on the lookout for Devontae Walker to kind of be like a gadget guy. They bring him in for like some quick wide receiver screens, things like that, try to get him the ball early and just tell him to take off, because that's one of the things that he kind of excels with, acceleration, that is. So I think that, I mean, again, the possibilities in this offense are just endless, truly endless. And that's why I love listening to Todd Monken speak. And I wish the
Mm-hmm.
reporters would ask him some more, kind of like questions, better questions, but I know they can't. I know they can't. They have to keep it kind of surface level, and he's got
Yeah.
to keep it surface level. We got to wait until the season to really see it. But I'm really interested to see what he's able to do with this amount of weapons that he has.
Yeah, I don't want to fall into the Tez Walker trap, although I feel like I have because I saw a tweet of like all the day three Ravens receivers who have like impressed to a point, from your James Proches to your Yamon Figures, your
Mm,
Demetrius Williams to your David Reeds to all those guys. Like I just want it to work out for one of these guys. I don't know who
yeah,
it is. Oh, to your Aaron Millett's, to your Jordan Lasley's who punts the ball into the pond at the castle. Like and just seeing like Tez Walker, he's beat Nate Wiggins a couple of times. He's beating a first round corner,
yeah,
and to me, I thought he was a second round talent. Tez Walker, that is. So I just wanted to work out for him. I don't want to get stashed onto the special teams. And speaking of a guy who's been stashed on the special teams, to me, who has had a great training camp, Tylan Wallace.
yeah,
Today he made another big play. He had a 50-yard touchdown the other day. Like what is like I don't want to sit here and kind of give him the James Prochet treatment, but what does he have to do to get a shot in the offense? Because he won us a game last year all by
he did.
himself with a
He did.
one play. When he hadn't taken a punt return the whole year, comes in because Duvernay gets hurt, takes it for a touchdown. Give me like one or two Tylan Wallace targets. That's all I want. And if he takes them,
Yeah.
who knows?
Yeah. I mean, you know that I was a big Tylan Wallace guy coming out of Oklahoma State, and I still love him. And I was literally at that Rams game where he won us the game on that kick return or the punt return. It was incredible to say the least. But I think that with the Tylan Wallace, where the Ravens are kind of in a pickle, is that when you ask yourself this question, like, what does he do, or what physical trait does he possess that like really warrants him getting on the field, like getting him consistent snaps and looks, over a Rashad Bateman, over a Nelson Aguilar,
Mm-hmm.
over a Zay Flowers, over a Mark Andrews, Isaiah Likely, over all those guys. And like again, I love Tylan Wallace, I do. And not to mention, we're also a run first team, so the pass is
Yeah,
really secondary.
yeah.
So like he's way kind of down the totem pole on like the priority list of weapons that we have and who we want to go to. Um, but it's unfortunate because he is a guy where you could see him going to maybe like I don't know, like God forbid, like the Bills or something like that, and like they just make him a weapon, or something. I could see it.
Like Khalil
Um,
Shakir. He's
yeah,
become a viable threat for them. Not a superstar by any means, but he's made plays for him. And you say, like, what does he bring to me? What I
mm,
saw, it was the one play at OK State and then the punt return touchdown. He makes guys miss. He'll take contact. He'll bounce off of it. And he's made a
yeah,
couple of guys miss. And that's kind of like what I see. There will be plays where, maybe Zay just took a big play or bait and, bring him on the field. And he probably won't get the ball, but if he did, I like to see what happens. And it probably won't happen. He'll probably have 5 catches max this year, but it seems like Lamar has chemistry with him because these big plays have come from Lamar Jackson at quarterback. It hasn't been Josh Johnson, I think, or Devin Leary. It's been number 8. So I
yeah,
wish, maybe he could say, bring my boy in or something. But yeah, I just want to point that out there because I think he's had a really good camp as well. Uh, Staying one day 9 as well.
sure,
Um, I believe. Okay, here it is. Lamar Jackson, they were throwing blitzes at him.
yeah,
And they talked a lot this summer that they wanted him to have more command of our pre-snap checks. And there was a play, Jackson recognized a blitz later in practice and flipped an easy touchdown out to Justice Hill from the backfield. So he's now learning, if you can understand what blitzes that Ravens defense is bringing to you, not many other teams are going to be bringing those types of blitzes, unless the Seahawks maybe. So that's another big thing I took away is him getting more freedom pre-snap, something we were asking for every single year with Greg Roman at OC. He never had the chance, audible, change the play, see what he liked. But Todd Monken's given him that ability, and dare I say, letting him off the leash. That was like one of the big quotes from years ago that somebody made. I forget that we had him tied down.
Yeah, no, I mean Lamar, he's matured every year that he's been in this league, and him getting Todd Monken and now getting a chance to kind of grow with Todd Monken, I think is going to it's really going to show up in just kind of like the efficiency of this offense and how comfortable Lamar Jackson looks in this offense as well. I mean, the one big question still is, of course, the offensive line, and I wish we would have um, a couple more solid answers to the pieces there. But I want to bring up something else here. I did see because we were on the topic of receivers just now,
Yeah.
and we were talking about Rashad Bateman earlier. Rashad Bateman, just to let everyone know who doesn't already know, he exited practice earlier. Um, today's practice, he exited today's practice early. He's dealing with a soft tissue issue. So
August
that's
1st today.
yeah, today.
Oh wow. Okay.
Oh no. I'm sorry. That was yesterday. I'm sorry. That was yesterday.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
okay.
Day nine.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
day nine. He exited practice early. He's dealing with a soft tissue issue. So again, uh, not really much to say there. You just gotta hope that Bateman can kind of get better. And there's a couple of guys, honestly. Now that I'm thinking about it, kind of shifting gears here just a little bit. But did you hear about DeAndre Hopkins?
I did. He's out 4 to 6 weeks.
Yeah. 4 to 6 weeks for DeAndre Hopkins. Justin Herbert is banged up.
Here's the good news for the Titans, though. They go and sign Tyler Boyd and Calvin Ridley. So I mean, I know D Hop is an amazing receiver, but you're going to be out there. Let's say he misses one game, you still have uh, Calvin Ridley, Tyler Boyd, and Traylon Burks. That's not a bad 1, 2, 3 to start off with Will Levis, but that is definitely concerning for D Hop. And then
Yeah.
I'm gonna just fast forward to today real quick because there is a little something about Lamar and Bateman that he did return to practice. Uh, Between Jackson's illness and Bateman's soft tissue issue, it stopped them from getting together, linking up.
Yeah.
But they said the deep ball connection still needs work. So I'm talking about today, August 1st. Jackson threw a bit too deep on one with Armour Davis in close pursuit. On a play later in practice, there seemed to be a miscommunication as the pass fell short of Bateman and wasn't catchable for Nelson Aguilar. So August 1st, and the deep ball has not been fixed yet. So that's kind of a little bit of concern for me. We have a whole month to get that fixed, but that's really to me the missing part of this offense is the big play.
Yeah.
Just keep defenses honest, make them play you deep, and that's how you can get stuff over the middle, short, intermediate, or even a run to break off if you have two safeties in the back. So I it's a little bit of a concern. I want to get that fixed, and hopefully uh, Lamar and Bateman can be practicing together every day.
Yeah, man. The problem, and I've said it so many times on this show, Alex. Like the issue with Lamar Jackson and Rashad Bateman's chemistry is just simply that Lamar Jackson doesn't throw with as much anticipation um, for a quarterback as Rashad Bateman would like for his style of receiver.
Yeah.
Rashad Bateman, he he wants that ball to be in the air and coming his way as soon as he beats his man. Like the second he beats his man, he wants that ball to be in the air and on the way to him. And Lamar Jackson, like sometimes he'll tend to wait till his guy is definitively open to let it go. And it might be like it always seems like it's a little bit late, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Like
Yep.
it always seems like it's just like a second late. And I think that's the difference there. And you notice like when a guy like Tyler Huntley came in, and Tyler Huntley throws with a little bit more anticipation than Lamar, at least I think. Um, or at least he did, at least back in when he was starting for us. I remember that game against it was the Browns, where he goes and he beats Greedy Williams for the deep ball, right? Those are the type of throws that Rashad Bateman, I think, is looking for, and it's just going to take repetition, and that's why it
Mhm.
sucks that between, like you said, Lamar's illness and Bateman's soft tissue issue, they haven't really been able to get on the same page, and they weren't really working together all that much unless it was off camera and off of the internet during the off season.
Right.
They weren't really getting together,
Correct.
so it's just we're gonna have to see. You're gonna have to show me something. I'm still putting the light bill on Rashad Bateman 25 plus yards in week one. I'm
Yeah.
doing it. I still think he's hitting that. He might crush it, to be honest with you. Who knows? But yeah, I'm sprinkling something on that. But Bateman and Lamar, they've got to get it together.
Yeah, and it worked his first 9, 10 catches in the league, and that was a lot of one timing stuff. It was curl routes. It was him just over the middle. Like he was
Yeah,
where he was supposed to be, right timing, and Lamar found him. So go back to that, and compared to Zay, where we've seen it where Lamar will roll out and Zay could be on one side of the field, but he comes back to Lamar, makes a catch, turns upfield. That's the difference, and that's kind of what practice is for. And like I said, they haven't. This is finally like the first couple of days where they've been able to be together between Lamar's sick and then the soft tissue stuff. But I just want to get solved because that's kind of another missing piece of the offense.
yeah.
So
And
as
again,
we're moving on, what's up?
well, I was just gonna say, like, again, just to kind of wrap it up. I mean, if Rashad Bateman is gonna be like that X receiver playing close to the sideline, we're going to need him to make plays because we're going to
Mm-hmm.
need defenses to be able to respect the fact that we can attack all parts of the field. And that's how we're going to open up Derrick Henry and really just punish defenses. But I'll leave it there.
Yeah, fantastic point. So as we're talking about today, as Ryan Mink described it, the most physical practice yet.
Yeah.
So this should be fun. He said this was the closest to the full Derrick Henry monster mode we've seen so far, and it was a tasty appetizer. On two
Mm,
separate occasions, cornerbacks Marlon Humphrey and Arthur Millette had their arms wrapped around Henry's waist, looking like they were holding on for dear life. But it gets better. This gets better. One outside run with Ronnie Stanley and Andrew Voorhees out in front blocking looked like a steam engine rolling downhill,
ooh,
which is exactly what the Ravens want to create with Derrick Henry. So I got two things right there.
yeah.
One, Andrew Voorhees will be our starting left guard, barring anything crazy to happen.
Yeah.
And two, Derrick Henry, contrary to what some people think, is not washed, in my opinion. And if you use him correctly with a good line or a decent line, he's still a 1,000-yard rusher, which he was last year with a piss poor line. So
Yeah.
I am already getting excited about just the prospect of number 22 running behind these guys. And why not throw in a 300-pound Pat Ricard in there as well?
You know what I take from what you just said? I take the Ravens will be unstoppable
Mm,
in the red zone specifically this season, simply because all of the options, like when the field gets packed in that tight. Not to mention the Ravens were already amazing in the red zone last season, thanks to guys like again Lamar Jackson, Gus Edwards, so on and so forth. But I think this year, within the from the 20s to the end zone, there's just way too many options. The tight ends, you start running those heavy tight end sets down low like that, and you add in a Derrick Henry, so one running back, and then you have Likely and Mark Andrews lined up on the other side in 12 personnel. How do you? I just don't see how you stop that with the threat of Lamar Jackson running as well. You don't have enough men. You simply do not have enough men for that. And the fact that you just pointed out, you get Derrick Henry out in space. So what are we talking here? I mean, we're talking stretch plays, we're talking toss plays to the outside,
right.
or we can hit crossers on tight ends. We can hit Zay Flowers. He's speeding around, losing guys and chase. And Lamar Jackson's going to find the right. He's going to find the right place to go with the football. We saw that again in that Lions game where he scrambles around for 15 seconds and hits Nelson Aguilar. I mean, even if the offensive line, even if the pocket's breaking down, we have a quarterback who can make time and make something happen. So the fact that all these weapons are here, I'm saying within the red zone, the Ravens will probably be the most efficient team this season.
That's what we need. That's why we were so good last year compared to years past. We were turning those ships into 7, not 3. We weren't relying on Justin Tucker as much, and that's something I really remember in 2022 before Lamar went down. It was a lot of field goals, and even after, like
Yeah.
we could not score a touchdown. I think the magic number was 17 or
Yep.
something. Like we went like how many games without
Oh my
scoring over 17 points. And it
yeah,
was a common theme on the show because we would bring it up like, all right, this is the week we're going to hit 17. And it never was. Not even the playoff game. And even then, like, we had a touchdown from our I'm sorry, we gave away the touchdown. I'm sorry.
yeah,
But yeah,
yeah.
even then, we still couldn't put it up. But still going on about this offensive line,
Mm.
rookie offensive tackle Roger Rosengarten got a lot of first team reps and handled them well. Harbaugh said Rosengarten has been steadily improving and deserved his shot with the ones. So he was splitting that with Patrick McCarry. So that's kind of the competition for right tackle, McCarry and Rosengarten. So I mean, to me, it's Stanley, Voorhees, Linderbaum. Big question mark, like a smaller question mark at right tackle. Like Dre says, only question mark we have at O line is right guard. Seems like a toss between Falele and Cleveland. And Max said earlier, I believe he said, "What's good, PRP? Anyone else disappointed Ben Cleveland can't win the right guard job?" Yes, that is me because I
Yeah,
really thought this was his chance to take it over, and I think he's due for a contract next year. So he could have been the next Ravens lineman to step in, mid-round pick, and go and make yourself a lot of money next year.
yeah. By the way, want to give a big shout out to Killer Cam. Says got a GA
Congrats.
position and got into grad school. What's going
Hey,
on, Cam?
congrats,
And
man.
congratulations to you. Yeah,
Hey,
appreciate you for coming through. That's big news, man. That's big news. You got big things coming, man. You got big
yeah.
things coming. So shout out to you. All right. Now you mentioned right tackle
Mm-hmm.
Roger Rosengarten getting a lot of looks with the ones, and then kind of cycling in and out with Patrick McCarry. Patrick McCarry, he got on. He kind of interviewed today in front of the media, and here was a quote. Patrick McCarry on his desire to start at right tackle. Quote, I just want to play. End quote. I think that's big. I think that's really good news. I mean, he is a true company man. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't matter where you put him at. He just wants to show up. He wants to produce. He's a real lunch pail kind of guy. And I love hearing that, man. But again, I still stand by having Roger Rosengarten kind of take that spot. I mean, you want an anchor right there. You don't want kind of like a replacement piece. You know what I mean? And not to say that Patrick McCarry is that, but he's kind of like the Swiss Army knife. You put him where you need him when you need him. You know.
Yep.
So yeah, good news there. But I am also very disappointed, like you said as well. Ben Cleveland, huge disappointment. Quite literally, we talked about it on the last episode. We thought that he was going to be this just mountain of a man who was just going to be able to, I don't know, do big things. Big country, but it didn't pan out that way. And we hope that what's going on with his head, because like I said, he like bumped his head or something like that today, and he had to leave practice early. We hope that he gets better from that. But and then also you mentioned, I want to bring this up too, left guard Andrew Voorhees. Uh, I love him starting there. I mean, I love the young guys. I love the young guys like Andrew Voorhees and Roger Rosengarten. While they are cheap, while they're inexpensive, get those guys like going now. If they're showing promise in practice, cool. Like let's keep them rolling. Let's give them the confidence. Let them build their confidence. So by the time the season starts, they can start to build and gel as a unit. We should have this unit figured out. I would say maybe and I know Harbaugh won't talk about it, but we should have it figured out our first, before I'd say our last preseason game. I'll say that.
Yeah.
I'll say that.
You
We
talk
should have a
about
pretty good
young
idea.
linemen
Yeah,
throwing Tyler Linderbaum as well. I mean, third year, but he's still a young guy. Pretty sure
yeah.
he was like 20 when he came out of college, I believe. So he'd
And
be
the
at
best
22,
center in the
23.
league.
Yeah. So, I mean, arguably, you got to talk about it at this point. I think him and Creed Humphrey in the AFC are battling for it. Jason Kelsey's gone. So
Yeah,
his PR is finally gone. So
right.
I think it leads up to those two, and they're miles ahead of guys. So if you could get, your left guard, center, right tackle, have those guys kind of set because we're going to extend Linderbaum. I feel like you have to, especially with Lamar and the center problems we had before we got Linderbaum. It's a no-brainer. So I'm just going to assume that we're going to have 3 out of our 5 guys for a long time, like 3 to 4 years. So that leaves
Yeah,
two more spots that you can address in the draft or in free agency. I mean, and then you have your line that you invested so much in protecting your quarterback. You invested a whole lot more money into. So let's just hope it all works out, and hopefully these are the right guys for the line.
yeah. Dre says here, how would y'all feel about Patrick McCarry at right guard?
If he wants to play, show it. I mean, the way he's played already at tackle and guard before he and center, he could probably go in there and give you some solid reps.
Yeah. I mean, I'm more of a fan of seeing Daniel Fa'alele kind of really take the reins there. But got to see it. I mean, there's just so much more left to be seen. Like, we got to see preseason and all that. Fa'alele, I think he got beat the other day by I think he got by Travis Jones, and it was on a stunt with him and Owe. So can't really blame him there. It was kind of manufactured that way. But yeah, I'd rather see Daniel Fa'alele there. He was highly touted by his teammates this week as well. Tyler Linderbaum, I think, had good things to say about him too. So yeah, I mean, offensive line, again, one of the biggest question marks on this Baltimore Ravens team. There's just no doubt about that. One of the biggest question marks. But I think that we do benefit from having a mobile quarterback, who can kind of like put makeup on this offensive line, for lack of better words, when it's kind of looking a little bit ugly. So, and we've seen that at times. But again, the tackle situation, nobody likes to see edge rushers running past Lamar Jackson a second into the play. Like it's not good and breaking down the pocket. So some guys got to step up. Simple as that.
Yeah, and I think this team has two big question marks right now, and then one maybe smaller one. Well, it's not smaller, but medium question mark to me is receiver. The bigger ones is line and edge for me. So, how are we going to address them? How's it going to look come week one? I'm not sure, but I'm going to move on now to some more training camp stuff.
Okay.
Kyle Hamilton,
yeah,
best safety in the league in my opinion. Remember 2 years ago, he got beat by Bailey Gaither in an open practice. I was there. I remember the play. Went viral online. Caught him a bust. Wrote him off. Number 14 overall pick for what? Getting beat by some random white UDFA receiver.
Too slow.
Really? Yeah, slow. Footwork isn't good. Like, what are you doing? Bum. Yeah. Best safety in the league now. That night on Twitter was hilarious. They were roasting him, and he just, God, he had a last laugh. But he had his hands full defending tight end Isaiah Likely.
Mm-hmm.
He won both of his one-on-one battles with Isaiah Likely. Yeah, Lamar Jackson tried to test Mr. Hamilton, but Hamilton ran step for step and forced an incompletion. Also had a mind-blowing interception that you can find on the Ravens Twitter. They had the video out there. It is insane. It's one of the luckiest interceptions I think you'll ever see. It doesn't hit the ground. Very, very weird.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna keep on the topic real quick at tight ends. Mark Andrews had an impressive over-the-shoulder sliding catch versus safety Eddie Jackson during one-on-ones. I mean, if one tight end isn't getting done, the other one is, and vice versa. So that's just a nice 1-2 duo right there.
Alex, I've been getting called crazy for my Isaiah Likely take lately. That people are saying like, how could you, Sutton, how could you pick Isaiah Likely to finish with more yards or touchdowns than Mark Andrews in this season when Mark Andrews is Lamar Jackson's favorite target, yada yada yada. And I take these points in stride because and part of me agrees. Part of me agrees. It's like Mark Andrews has been like so Mr. Reliable for us over the years, and I think we might see a little changing of the guard this season. And I think when you look at when you read what these beat writers are saying about these plays that are going down in training camp, Lamar Jackson is looking for as these plays are developing, he's looking for Isaiah Likely. Like he's scrambling out to his right and then finding Likely late. You know what I mean? Finding Likely in the end zone, finding Likely here or there, like everywhere. So I think that that'll translate into the season as well. Like when he's on the field, he's going to be looking for number 80. So I may not be spot on with the take, right? I may be wrong. I don't think I will be, to be honest with you. But it's just. And another quick tidbit. Did you see that they didn't even rate Isaiah Likely as an 80 overall in Madden?
I saw the top 17 tight ends. Mr. Likely to me is better than at least 7 or 8 of them. Arguably 10. Arguably 10, but I'll give it to you because I don't want to be a homer. But back to your take, it is not crazy. What is crazy is winning Mark Andrews traded, in my opinion. That to me is crazy.
What up, Boz?
Hello, Mr. Boz. I don't get the point of winning trade Mark Andrews.
No, definitely not trade him.
Because we know how much Lamar loves the tight ends. If you have two really good ones, this offense is a lot better. And the pick that you would possibly gain from Mark Andrews, that would not replace his production. And to me, it's you're sending out another one of his favorite guys. You already traded Hollywood Brown, you win it out. You trade Mark Andrews, like
Yeah,
that's not a good way to keep your quarterback happy. Look at Peyton Manning, Marvin Harrison, how Dallas Clark was there for most of his career. Tom
yeah,
Brady had Gronk, had Edelman, had his guys. Hell, Gronk followed him to Tampa Bay. That's how much the Buccaneers wanted to keep, Tom. We'll get your best friend. Kelsey and Mahomes, like you want to keep those duos together, and I see no point in trading Mark Andrews whatsoever. Just want to say that.
yeah,
But your point of likely having more touchdowns or yards, that's not crazy because I think likely it will have much less attention in the red zone. I think
yeah.
the priority of eyes in the red zone would be Lamar, Derrick Henry, Mark Andrews. Then to me, probably be Zay Flowers over Isaiah Likely because you need to pay attention to receiver in the red zone as well. So likely that to me is like the fourth or fifth option you're going to pay attention to. He'll get lost.
Honestly, man, I might sprinkle some Isaiah Likely anytime touchdown week 1. I
As you
might do
should.
it. I might
As,
do it.
as you should.
Yeah, because I'm thinking it'll probably be like it'll open at like plus 350, plus
Oh,
400, maybe longer. Right? Yeah,
anytime touchdown lay one game. Why not?
yeah, yeah. I might
Honestly,
have to do that.
week two. I'm gonna call right now. Likely has a touchdown week two against the Raiders. That
Okay,
game screams like 4 or 5 touchdowns passing. It
okay.
screams like I think we come out strong and we give them a nice little ass whooping.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
my take right there. I think like likely gets his first touchdown week two. I'm gonna have
yeah.
to remember that.
And again, kind of just touching back on Kyle Hamilton. Uh, I'm excited to see what DC Orr is able to do kind of with him and moving him around because with an addition of like an Eddie Jackson and then also having a Marcus Williams as well. And I know we've talked about this before on the show, but just kind of bringing it back up again, you're going to be able to put him anywhere you want. Kyle Hamilton. I want to see if we see him more closer to the line of scrimmage this season more often and kind of like getting in the mix of plays and whatnot because he's really good down low.
Mhm.
He's really good when on stretch plays, on just inside runs. He's good at tracking the football. He has a great nose for the football. And kind of putting him around guys like I think a Trenton Simpson more. The chemistry between these guys, I think, could be really, really special. Once they start clicking, Roquan Smith, Trenton Simpson, Kyle Hamilton. I said this on a YouTube short months ago. I think last season or something like that. Like that tandem right there, I think could be absolutely insane, and we'll see. And also another thing, Zach Orr, defensive coordinator, of course. I think that he's bringing a totally new energy. He's bringing a totally new energy to this Ravens defense. Not even new, like the classic energy. And Lamar Jackson brought that up too. He said that earlier this week. He said this feels like the old classic Ravens, like the Ray Lewis type Ravens. That's the meanness, the nastiness that these guys are playing with, even in training camp. So imagine when they suit up against a team that are wearing, different colors. That's going to be absolutely. They're going to be all over themselves. I mean, it's going to be crazy. It's going to be chaos.
I mean, and that's comes from Zach Ward playing as linebacker. I love Mike McDonald, but Zach Ward, playing in NFL games, being a second team All Pro as undrafted free agent, he's been through the grind. So
Yeah,
that's what he expects all his guys to do. And this is a guy who played with Terrell Suggs, who top three, top four Raven of all time,
yeah,
however you want to put it. So he knows what it is to play like a Raven. And when he was there, I mean, our defenses weren't the best, but they were still pretty good. So, like you said, he has a nastiness, that grit. So I'm looking forward to seeing it. And he'll be a guy that we'll see him celebrating with the defense as after a big stop, after a sack, after a pick, after a
yeah.
game sealing fumble, something like that. We'll have a lot of Zach Ward moments.
Because he's just the type of guy like as a defensive player, you want to run through an absolute brick stone wall for
Yeah.
this guy. Because once you make a big play, you come back over to that sideline, he is going to be the first one in your face, like with the attaboys, basically.
Yeah.
It's going to be, man, like the CBS, the 1 p.m. CBS camera crew, I don't know if they're ready. I don't know if they're
I don't
ready.
think they are.
They're
Between
going to have to,
Roquan,
between Roquan, Zach Orr, like all the other guys as well. Of course, they're going to be having eyes locked in on Lamar Jackson, the Derrick Henrys of the world. guys like that, but just all those other little pieces that are just going to be good for television, just in general.
Yeah.
They need to make sure that they're all on top of that. So, okay, go ahead and make sure you drop your questions down below in the chat. We're going to take a couple questions before we wrap here on the Purple Rain podcast, episode 253. Make sure you like the video, subscribe
Please.
to the channel as well. Again, season is right around the corner. We literally have a football game tonight. What time does the Hall of Fame game start? Is it 8?
8 o'clock. 8
8 o'clock.
o'clock.
That kicks off in half an hour. Again, of course, it's not supposed to be high caliber football. It's not going to be quality. It's not going to be quality, okay? But it's going to be football. That's the point. So you tune in again. You hear the announcers. You get that feeling again.
You
What
hear the
network is it
theme.
on? Yeah, but I say what network is it on? That's how we know what theme it's going to be. Is
It
it on
is
NFL Network?
on. It says NFL Plus. Let me
See.
see.
Oh, see.
See, these
Yep.
streaming stuff it's ruined. It's ruined the game. What happened to the game I love?
Yeah.
You gotta buy Peacock. You gotta buy this one. Oh, it kicks off Thursday on ABC, ESPN. There you go.
Okay. ABC, ESPN.
Or on stream the opposite of West. Or on there as well. I'm not gonna say the name, but stream opposite of West.
Yeah, you get the picture. But yeah, tune into that game, guys. Is I think it's really gonna bring back just the feels of football.
Yeah.
I've been seeing a lot of like different posts online about how people are ready for the fall time and just like cooking food late in the afternoon and watching a 4 o'clock game. What? Wait, what? Whoa, Alex, what's going on?
Me and the cold weather don't get along well. All right. My favorite month is September because football season starts. Soccer starts back. Soccer starts in about 2 weeks, but you're back in the season. Baseball's coming to an end. College football's going, and the weather is still warm. It's not 50s. It's like 60 and 70s. I'm not ready for the walking out and I got to put on layers. My lips are chapped. I'm taking my temperature because I think I'm coming down with the cold. I'm not ready for that yet. I'm enjoying this now, but the fall, though, you are right. It's going to be a walkout, nice, crisp October Sunday.
Yeah.
And I'm getting ready to see Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry play. You're kind of, I'm owning up to it, but just I want to enjoy this so far. I'm gonna enjoy the warm weather still.
Yeah, definitely want to enjoy the warm weather. I mean, but like the first month of football, like the whole September is going to be warm, right? It's going to be hot, and you get football. You get the best of both worlds, literally. But I don't know. I like when it starts to get the cold weather because that means a couple things. I mean, football is really in the swing of things. The seasons are changing and the holidays are coming up. So that's pretty cool. But all right, let's get to some questions here. We got a question. This one's coming from Chike. What's going on, Chike? Appreciate you for coming through to this episode 253 of the Purple Rain podcast. Says who will be in the AFC and NFC championship game on January 27th, 2025.
You're gonna rematch in the AFC. I'll tell you that.
I can see that. Chiefs. I can see that. Yeah.
NFC. I don't think the Niners make it. NFC's harder.
NFC is way harder.
I mean, AFC's hard. I mean, to me, like AFC, there's so many good teams, but I think the Ravens and Chiefs are the two best teams in the AFC right now. Before any game's been played.
Yeah.
I want to kind of throw the Packers in there though. If Jordan Love takes that next step, just got paid.
I'm gonna go Eagles. I'm gonna go Eagles and Lions.
I like that. And CJ Gardner-Johnson's been talking too. He went back to the Eagles. That would be some great storyline.
I think Saquon on the Eagles is just gonna put them over the top, man, where they need to be. And Detroit, I mean, that's your team. That's your team. I mean, Dan Campbell and because they came damn close too to winning to getting to the Super Bowl. I'm sure
secondary.
Yeah, I'm sure there's Detroit Lion podcasters who are saying the same things that we're saying about the Ravens about the Lions. So yeah, I got Eagles and Lions in the NFC and Ravens and Chiefs in the AFC.
Give me. Oh, this is storybook. Give me Lions Rams NFC. Oh. I like what the Rams have done. I like their draft. I like their free agent signings. Their defense could use some work. I feel like this is Matt Stafford's last ride. I really do. I feel like this and next year. But at the same time, I like the Eagles too. You know what? I'm gonna go with you. Eagles Lions. Eagles Lions. I'll throw Niners in the wild card. I'll throw this team as a wild card. The Buccaneers. I'll throw them in there.
The
I think Baker
Buccaneers,
can
I had a thought. Yeah,
if 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 things go the right way for them, they could sneak their way into an NFC championship. So I'm gonna say.
yeah, yeah. I mean, a lot would have to go their way, though. A lot would have to go their way, because
I think they
I
win the
don't.
division.
They would have to beat the Rams. I don't see them beating the Rams. I don't. I don't. I think that Matthew Stafford would fully outduel a Baker Mayfield, and Sean McVay outcoaches. Um, who's the Bucks?
Todd
Who's the
Bowles.
Bucks head coach? Yeah, Bulls. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
I'm gonna
man.
ask you a question. Our favorite team. What do the Cowboys do this year? What do them boys do?
I'm gonna go wild card exit.
I think
I'm
the
gonna go
same.
wild card exit. Yeah, I
I think
mean,
it's the same.
it's unfortunate for them. It's unfortunate, but like they have really done not much at all over this off season,
Yep.
and I think that kind of frustrations are boiling between like their best players. They still haven't paid Dak yet. They're right back in that dilemma after the past couple of seasons. They still need to pay CD Lamb, and Michael Parsons wants to get paid big money too. So it's just they really got some things to figure out, and if they don't win it this season, they're gonna have to make some tough executive decisions, and that's gonna be Jerry Jones making those tough executive decisions because we know he is the owner and GM and all that.
The Cowboys, to me, have a real chance of not making it to the playoffs. Their run game is a big question mark. To me, you can't throw the ball 50 times a game and win 10,
Yeah,
11, 12 games. Signing Zeke back, what does that do? How like what's the plan with that? Is he gonna? I'm still kind of dumbfounded by that. Uh,
it
Their
was a
defense,
courtesy
I
thing.
mean,
Seems like.
yeah, their defense with Micah Parsons is good, but I think wild card exit as well. But at the same time, I wouldn't be surprised if they missed the playoffs. I could give a really hot take right now that I don't want to because I look like an asshole, but I'm
Go
gonna
ahead.
say it. Maybe the Commanders have more wins than the Cowboys.
Oh, the Commanders. Ah,
I like Jaden Daniels a lot, and
I
what
do
Dan
too.
Quinn getting one up on his former team.
My only problem with that is I think that Dan Quinn, I don't know if he's the right coach to usher in a quarterback like Jaden Daniels to the league.
That's a fair point.
You know,
That's a real
I
good
don't
point.
know if they're going to necessarily hand him the keys to this offense. I think they'll handcuff him largely and just be like, basically, like, don't make a lot of mistakes. We're not going to really put the ball in your hands too much. We're going to let you, make some easy throws. We're kind of let them like sink into it. But to
Yeah.
me, I think you just throw him in. You throw him in the
Yep.
deep end, kind of like CJ Stroud. Throw him in, see what he can do. Week one, Ravens, right? Like that
It's not
sort of thing.
pretty,
It's
but he
not
did make
pretty,
mistakes.
right? But he came out of the fire, right? He came out of the fire and he ended up in the divisional round of the playoffs.
Yep.
Lost to the Ravens
Yep.
again, but he was there, and now people are considering him a fringe top five, top six quarterback. So
MVP candidate this year.
yeah, so I like what you're saying about Jaden Daniels and the Commanders, and that's kind of like my second team. So
Yeah.
I would love to see them be good this season. But I didn't think you would say Commanders. Here's the team. Here's the team I thought you were gonna say because you said like a
Okay.
hot take. I thought you were gonna say Chicago was gonna
Mm,
emerge, and Caleb Williams in his first year with all those weapons that they have there. Uh,
yeah.
yeah,
DJ
what do you,
Moore, Roma Dunze, Keenan
Keenan
Allen.
Allen? Yeah,
Yes, I need to see more from Eberflus, I think, and their defense. The defense, there's a couple of question marks, and that line as well. I've seen Bears fans complain about their line since Jay Cutler. Um,
yeah.
I can see them maybe going under 500, but like 6, 7 wins, but they're close in their losses. So it's a lot to look forward to for next year. That's just what I got from them.
I I have them winning a lot of those close games that normally a younger team led by a younger quarterback would lose. And I think it's because Caleb Williams kind of gives you that X factor, and he has enough talent and pieces around him, especially on that offense, to kind of rely on. So we talked about Adunze and DJ Moore and Keenan Allen, but he's got a solid running back in DeAndre Swift as well.
Yeah,
Like
Cole Kmet, good tight
Cole
end.
Kmet, like he's got the pieces there. It's not like he's going to. It's not like he's Drake May, for example, going to a situation where he's got nothing in New
Yeah,
England. Like he's just working with, okay, we got a brand new coach. This is his first year. What weapons do I got? Next to nothing. You know what I
yeah.
mean? So it's just,
I
what were you
feel
gonna
for
say?
Drake May. I
Yeah,
know I feel for Drake May. Like the situation he was put in is like kind of just set up to fail.
yeah. So I mean, I could see the Bears squeaking out a good 9 wins. I could see it. I can see it. I can see it, man. I can see them going just over 500, maybe surging late in the season or something like that. Dare I say 10 wins? That would be a very like a scolding hot take. I know,
That's
but
true.
but it's not off the table. I'll say that it's not off the table.
I'll tell you what team I think will make the playoffs before we go up. Seattle Seahawks. I don't know what quarterback it is, but they will make the playoffs.
Mm. The Seahawks.
Mike
That
McDonald will have that defense cooking.
yeah, yeah, but I still think that they need the upgraded quarterback to really be taken seriously. Like I talk about this all the time. Like we're out here paying these quarterbacks larger and larger contracts just by the minute, it seems like. And I feel like we're not asking ourselves these questions, or GMs aren't asking themselves these questions like, hey, can this quarterback legit win me a Super Bowl? Does he have what it takes to like go to Arrowhead and win me a Super Bowl? Does he have what it takes to go to a Super Bowl and with execute a 2-minute drill and make that perfect throw that you need to win the game, or scramble for that extra 20 yards that you need to break the defense's back and stay on the field, that sort of thing? Like, can he do all those things? And I feel like with a lot of these quarterbacks that they're paying nowadays, it's either the answer is no, they can't, or just we haven't seen it at all. He might be able to, but we haven't
Yeah.
seen it. So you're going with maybes, right? So I think that, if they put Geno Smith out there this season, like I think that they'll be good. They might squeak into the playoffs, but they could be maybe a wild card exit. I think that they could.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You bring up the quarterback situation, and I'm right there behind you. Tua getting that money, I'm still worried about his health. I am, from a human standpoint, with the amount of
Yeah.
concussions he's had. Because guys who had the same amount or maybe even less have retired. And I think who was it? Was one guy from the Patriots, Wes Welker. So I know he retired with tons of concussions,
Mhm.
career cut short. And I just look at that money like the Dolphins' biggest nemesis is cold weather.
Yeah.
Like any weather under 65 degrees, I'm taking the other team. And it might sound funny, but I need to go look up their stats in like weather games when it's colder out and see what the record is because it's a real thing. Like they don't play good in cold weather. I know they
Yeah.
had the weird -20 game against the Chiefs, but even then, like they didn't stand a chance from the first second. They didn't look like they were ready to go. They just looked unprepared. I don't know if it's a coaching thing or just players, but they're a
I
good
mean, they
team.
fought. They fought. I mean, Tyreek Hill had a big touchdown in that game, I think. Right.
Yeah. Did he? Yeah, he did. He did. He did. Yeah. And then they just weren't getting it together. But
But
I
no,
think the Bills
they're
take the
not
division.
good. The Dolphins are not good against good teams. Just simple as that. I mean, like against good teams last year, like playoff teams, I think they were like 1-5, something like that.
Yep.
And against everybody else, they're like 10-1. So it just goes to show with these quarterbacks again, they just paid Tua Tagovailoa. I mean, shout out to him, he got his money. But if you're the Dolphins, like, are you? If I'm a Dolphins fan, I'm not satisfied with that. Like I'm just not, knowing that you got Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen's and Lamar Jackson's running around here and Joe Burrow's running around here, who are definitively better than your quarterback. Yet your quarterback is getting ready to take up like a quarter of the cap, in a couple of seasons or whatever it
Trevor
is.
Lawrence,
Yeah, same
Justin
same
Herbert.
same situation. Herbo, yeah. One guy before we go, I want to bring this up. I don't know if you heard about this, but over in Denver, right? I've heard some remnants of Bo Nix is
Okay.
actually showing up in training camp, and he's looking sharp, you
Good
know.
for him.
And all this week I've been hearing that about Bo Nix. So I don't know. And I've heard some people even in the national media are kind of like giving him a look and saying like, maybe he might be one of the quarterbacks that emerges from this class and really surprises people. Can you imagine if another like star quarterback, like Bo Nix, comes out, in that division with the Chiefs and Herbert? What could that be like, man? Can you
Yeah,
imagine?
I talked a lot of trash about Bo Nix leading up to the draft. I wasn't his biggest fan.
Yeah,
That'd be something, because then you'd have Mahomes, Herbert, Nix, and then who in Las Vegas?
yeah,
That's my next question. Who is starting there, O'Connell or Gardner? And yeah, man. Speaking of one final thing, JJ McCarthy I heard hasn't been the best. But
yeah,
speaking about quarterbacks who really haven't been good, Daniel Jones I saw he's been like really really cold. I saw the one video like a 4 yard out route went bad,
I saw
overthrowing
that.
guys. I see Malik
Yeah,
Neighbors is making
Malik
big plays.
Neighbors looks good though. Yeah,
Malik Neighbors looks really, really good.
yeah,
The one thing about the Giants, they can draft some receivers. Odell was really good with them. Even Eli's
yeah,
final years, Neighbors, but you got a guy like Neighbors fall in your lap, you got to take him. But
yeah, yeah.
other
Malik
than
Neighbors, he might be, dare I say, the best receiver out of the draft. I mean, it's totally
that,
possible. I mean, we'll see what Marvin Harrison does, but I really like what I've seen from Malik Neighbors so far. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and leave it there for this episode 253 of the Purple Rain podcast. I want to thank each and every one of you guys for coming out to the stream tonight. Or if you're part of the hashtag replay game, whenever you're
yeah,
listening to this, shout out to you as well. Again, you can follow us on Instagram at the Purple Rain Podcast. You can follow me on X or Instagram at Sutton Def. You can follow this guy over here on X at Simply AS10, on Instagram at Simply AS10.prod, and pretty much just anywhere at Simply AS10. And like we led the episode with, you can go on manscaped.com right now. That's right now. Order yourself absolutely anything that you want. And use the code PRP at checkout to save yourself 20% off. Plus, you get the free international shipping. Again, thank you guys so much for coming through. Football is back officially, okay? Which means that we are back. We never left really, but we are back. Back in football mode, back in that mode, back in that grind. You know what I'm saying? I can't wait for the episodes with the picks, with the music, and the prediction episodes and the
Purple Rain
previews.
Parlay.
The purple. Man, I can't wait.
Come
I
on
can't wait.
now.
The
Come
fantasy
on.
league is about to get started again. Be on the lookout for that. We're back in full swing, baby. So, again, we appreciate you guys. Make sure you like the video before you get out of here. And with that being said, I'm gonna let my guy Alex take us out.
I see Asmodi is pulling up as well with the
Oh, as
5%
Modi is
cheers.
with
I
the
had to
five
sell to
piece
the
in the
people.
chat.
Here's $5 for one yourself. Thank you,
Oh,
Asmodius. We appreciate
whoa.
that a
Thanks,
lot.
Asmodeus. Appreciate that.
But well, what a way to end off the show. But as K-Dog says here, if you're new and you enjoy the content, drop a like and please consider subscribing. Thank you. Yes, a week from today, Ravens preview. First time for this season. Let's hope it's a special season. As always, stay positive, test negative.
Yeah, and never, ever, ever forget, even on the rainiest of days, to call God. It's been episode 253 of the Purple Rain Podcast. We're going to catch you guys in the next one. Peace.